Hello, and welcome to the 6th edition of the Meyer Memos. Today is October 7th, 2016. There will be no staff meeting this week. Instead, the BLT team will meet Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the conference room. Also, there's an ISST meeting this week. The team will meet Wednesday at 8 o'clock in the conference room. Safe routes to school. Olson Middle, and Jefferson will take part in a survey on October 11th, 12th, and 13th. Classroom teachers will tally how each student got to school. I'm going to place sheets in their mailbox for staff so that they can tally on these days how each of their kids got to school. And then once the 3 days are up, we will take the surveys, place them in an envelope, and send them on their way. There'll be more information to come. Student council meeting for grades 4th and 5th this week. This is to see who wants to run for office. So 4th and 5th grade teachers, please select 2 reps for the year. The meeting will take place Thursday, October 13th at 2:45 in the Media Center. Intervention plans. Please continue to work on reading and math plans. We may need to wait a little longer so that teams can utilize the BAS data so when they create their plans for reading. On the 18th of October, the instructional team will be meeting and they will discuss this to help further develop these plans. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I don't want this to be a stressor, but it's important that we head down this path so that we can decide on what we want to do to help our students. Reviewing data. Now that we've been at school for a while and we're getting close to finishing our data, it's real important that we look at that and to help us reflect on our instruction. When you look at the data, I want you to ask yourself some questions. How did this come about? What do you think could happen? How can I do this better? This data is not used for got you, but more as, what does this tell us? It's a picture, a small snippet of what happens throughout the year. I don't want people to fret over this, but I want us to use it intelligently. Also, I'd like for classroom teachers to dig deep for each student. What I mean by that is, look at your student's profile, testing profile, and for math and reading and see who has not grown for the last 2 years. First grade, this will be kind of hard. That's important because if we find out who's not growing, we need to figure out what we can do to help them. And this is how we can find students who may need to be referred to ISST. Because in the end, what we want to do is see what we can do collectively to help each student. If you have any questions, please stop by and let me know. The district's Diversity and Equity Advisory Committee, or DDAC, is asking for a rep. And our Amy Rowland will be our rep for this year. So I want to say thank you to Amy for being our rep. I think it's very fitting since Amy is working with a lot of our diverse students. In learning supports, we have worked on a Spanish-speaking student support. And this came about when talking with HEMA about what we can do to best utilize HEMA's, our cultural liaison skills. So we're going to survey teachers, and I'd like for grade levels to complete the surveys as a team. It's going to be due October 14th, so you have a week to do them. So we get these, it's a 5-question survey. We get the teachers' surveys and their responses. HEMA is going to survey families that are targeted families of Spanish speaking, and she's going to do this by October 28th. And she's going to do this over the phone, so for the next few weeks she's going to be working diligently to connect with families. Then we're going to discuss our results from our teacher surveys and the parent surveys at our November 1st staff meeting to come up with some ideas. Next, we're going to set a meeting with HEMA, key family members that she thinks could help us give us feedback on what we found, and some key staff members to help develop a plan on how to serve this population. Lastly, the teachers are going to share these plans with families at conferences. Okay, so there'll be more information to come. ISST short version. Well, we're in our first 6 weeks have passed, and we want to ask, who are those kids that are keeping you up at night that you don't know what to do? Well, the first thing you've done, and I'm sure that you've done this, is that you discuss with your team how you can best help these kids, but you're still struggling. So you're going to get some specific help. How do you do that? Well, if you're having a student who's struggling with reading, you talk to Jenny Daravingas for some support. If you have a student who's struggling math, you talk to Aaron Smith about some support on what you can do to help the child. And lastly, if a child is struggling with behavior, please contact Sarah Becker and or Caitlin Moody, and those two can come and observe and watch the student to see what's happening. And then, after that, we'll refer the student to ISST. Why we do this is we want to give staff support to so that they're not waiting and waiting and waiting. So you have to try things within your class, utilize your team, and then let's get the experts to help us. And then we can bring the next step would come to ISST. We found this to be very helpful in the past, and sometimes when we see things like when Jenny provided the overview of the ISST process at our staff meeting a few weeks ago, it was real quick and kind of overwhelming, and it was hard to understand. So this is the short version of the ISST. If you have any questions, let us know. And with that, I think we can make some big improvements. Also, if you have any barriers to learning, things that are getting in the way that you need help with, please share with Jenny so that we can discuss them at Oli's Learning Supports meetings. All right? Well, thank you for another great week, and have a wonderful weekend.